Britain in the 1950s believed it was rebuilding a nation on four wheels. Factories that once built Spitfires now built saloons, and the government demanded exports at any cost. Families dreamed of their first car, engineers dreamed of beating Detroit and Stuttgart, manufacturers promised comfort, glamour, and British ingenuity wrapped in polished chrome. For a moment, it felt as though nothing could stop Britain's motor industry. But behind the showroom lighting, some of these cars were quietly falling apart, some broke hearts, some broke gearboxes, and one car, launched with enormous confidence, still leaves enthusiasts shaking their heads today. Stay until the end, because number 1 still divides collectors more than any car on this list. Number 10. Jowett Javelin. Few cars promised as much as the Jowett Javelin. Launched in 1947 and hugely popular into the early 1950s, it stunned critics with genuinely advanced engineering from a small Yorkshire manufacturer. Nobody expected to compete with the giants. Its flat-four engine gave it surprising pace, aerodynamic styling, and handling that embarrassed far larger rivals. Motoring journalists loved it. Rally drivers loved it. For a brief moment, Jowett looked like Britain's answer to innovation itself. Would this tiny company really outshine Austin and Morris? It seemed possible. Then reality intervened. Gearbox failures became common. Crankshafts broke without warning. Warranty claims piled up faster than Jowett could manage them, and a small firm simply lacked the resources larger rivals had to fix things quietly. Owners grew frustrated, dealers grew nervous, and confidence evaporated. By 1954, Jowett had collapsed entirely. A car that dared to dream big had instead become a cautionary tale, brilliant on paper, but built by a company that could not survive its own ambition. Many enthusiasts still mourn what Jowett might have become. Do you think it deserved a second chance? Number 9. Daimler DK400. For generations, Daimler had been the preferred mark of British royalty, trusted since the earliest days of motoring. So when Daimler unveiled the DK400 in 1954, expectations were sky high. This was meant to be the car that kept the royal family loyal for another era. Built as a stretched version of the Daimler Regency, with room for 3 passengers to sit comfortably abreast in the rear, it promised dignity, presence, and old-world craftsmanship. On paper, it looked every inch a state car. But something had gone badly wrong beneath that elegant bodywork. Delivery to the Royal Mews was delayed for months. When the cars finally arrived, their performance proved feeble, straining under nearly 2 tons of ceremonial weight. Could a royal car really struggle to move with dignity? Sadly, it could. The disappointment was impossible to hide, and the royal warrant was quietly withdrawn. Rolls-Royce stepped in instead, supplying state cars for decades afterwards. Daimler had lost something money could never buy back: royal trust built across half a century, gone in a single underwhelming model. But that wasn't the only British manufacturer clinging to outdated engineering while the world moved on. Number 8. Standard Vanguard. The Standard Vanguard carried genuine post-war momentum into the 1950s, positioned by Standard as a true world car, styled with American inspiration after executives studied Plymouths parked near the US Embassy in London. Its 2.1-litre overhead valve engine offered respectable performance, and its rounded, fastback silhouette looked confidently modern beside dowdier British rivals. Exports flowed to Australia, Belgium, and India. For a while, Standard seemed unstoppable. But cracks were forming, quite literally. Rust proved relentless, attacking sills, wings, and floor pans within just a few years of ownership. Handling remained old-fashioned, and by the mid-1950s its once fresh styling looked increasingly dated beside newer competitors from Ford and Vauxhall. Was it really a world car, or simply a car that struggled everywhere equally? Sales held up initially, but confidence steadily eroded as owners discovered how quickly their pride and joy could rot away beneath them. Standard's fortunes never fully recovered, and within a decade the mark itself would vanish entirely from British roads, swallowed into triumph. Number 7. Land Rover Series 1 Station Wagon. Long before anyone imagined the Range Rover, Land Rover attempted something remarkably similar, and continued selling it into the new decade. This wasn't the rugged farm workhorse everyone recognized. It was a genuine luxury proposition, coach-built by Tick Ford in Newport Pagnell, complete with leather upholstery and refined interior trim rarely seen on a Land Rover. Buyers were promised comfort without sacrificing capability. Surely this was the future of British motoring? Not quite. Because this version wasn't classified as a commercial vehicle, it attracted punishing rates of car purchase tax, pushing its price far beyond what most buyers could justify. Just 50 were ever sold in Britain. Would you have paid luxury prices for a Land Rover? Almost nobody did. Land Rover eventually returned to station wagons in 1954, stripping away the luxury and building simpler aluminium bodies that finally proved affordable. The original idea had been years ahead of its time, but taxation, not engineering, had ultimately decided its fate. Number 6. Wolseley 690. When the Wolseley 690 launched at the October 1954 Motor Show, it arrived to enormous expectation. This was meant to be the natural successor to Britain's most respected police car, and forces across the country were watching closely. Fitted with BMC's new 2.6-litre straight-six C-Series engine, producing a healthy 95 horsepower, the 690 promised authority, comfort, and genuine performance befitting its illuminated Wolseley badge. Early figures looked impressive, with a top speed nudging 96 miles per hour. Surely this would cement Wolseley's reputation for decades to come? For a while, it did exactly that, and hundreds were indeed purchased by police forces, including the Metropolitan Police. But beneath the leather and walnut trim, corrosion crept steadily into sills, floors, and door bottoms, a common curse for monocoque saloons of this era. Reliability niggles chipped away at confidence, and rivals modernized faster than Wolseley could respond. Was authority alone enough to guarantee loyalty? It wasn't. By 1959, the 690 was quietly replaced, its illuminated badge switched off for the very last time. Number 5. Vauxhall Victor F-Type. Vauxhall entered 1957 with backing from its powerful American parent, General Motors, and enormous confidence. The Victor F-Type was styled after the flashy 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air, rushed through development in Luton under a punishing schedule designed to conquer both British and North American markets simultaneously. Its 1.5-litre four-cylinder engine was solid and unremarkable, causing few complaints. The real problems lay elsewhere, hidden within panels assembled too quickly. Wraparound windscreens looked wonderfully modern, but their seals let water trickle steadily into the cabin. Thin, rushed bodywork meant doors and bonnets fitted poorly, inviting even more moisture inside. Could a car really rust away within just a few winters? This one did, becoming notorious as one of Britain's most corrosion-prone exports. American dealers, including Pontiac and Oldsmobile, eventually refused further shipments outright. Vauxhall's brief boast of building Britain's most exported car ended abruptly in embarrassment. Ironically, surviving examples today are cherished by collectors who overlook the very flaws that once destroyed its reputation entirely. And if rusting steel could ruin a car, dangerous handling could prove even more devastating. Number 4. Jaguar 3.4-litre Mk1. Jaguar had genuinely pioneered the compact sports saloon back in 1955 with its refined 2.4-litre model, engineered so solidly that critics praised its unshakable rigidity. By 1957, Jaguar wanted more excitement, so engineers fitted the larger 3.4-litre engine, borrowed conceptually from the Le Mans winning D-Type racing program. Acceleration transformed instantly. Top speed soared. Enthusiasts were thrilled by numbers that embarrassed far pricier rivals. But had anyone considered whether the chassis could actually cope? Tragically, they hadn't fully. The existing drum brakes and suspension, adequate for the gentler 2.4, now struggled desperately to control this newfound performance, especially on wet British roads. The car earned a fearsome reputation, and world champion racing driver Mike Hawthorne lost his life driving one in 1959. Would greater performance always demand greater caution? This entry proved it painfully. Jaguar eventually introduced disc brakes and revised the model into the safer Mk2, but the lesson had already cost lives, and it still troubles enthusiasts who discuss this car today. The car at number 3 involves a company that simply refused to move with the times. Number 3, Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire. The Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire arrived in 1952 promising the finest British craftsmanship money could buy, aimed squarely at wealthy, discerning buyers who valued heritage above all else. Its engineering was genuinely impressive, refined, quiet, and beautifully finished, built with the meticulous care expected from an aviation-linked manufacturer. Surely such quality would guarantee success? For a while, admirers certainly believed so. But conservative styling made the Sapphire look older than its years, and its high price placed it directly against far more desirable rivals. Jaguar offered comparable performance for considerably less money. Rolls-Royce offered irreplaceable prestige that no amount of engineering could match. Armstrong Siddeley had almost no recognition beyond British shores, leaving it isolated in an increasingly competitive marketplace. Would loyal traditionalists really be enough to sustain an entire model range? They weren't. Sales never reached the volumes needed to justify continued investment, and Armstrong Siddeley withdrew from car manufacturing entirely by 1960. A beautifully engineered car, undone not by mechanical failure, but by simply refusing to change with a rapidly evolving decade. Do you think the criticism was fair? Some enthusiasts still argue it was Britain's most underrated saloon. Number 2, Austin A90 Atlantic. Austin entered the new decade desperately chasing American dollars, and the A90 Atlantic was their boldest gamble yet. Wrapped in chrome, curves, and enormous ambition, it looked flamboyant, almost transatlantic, styled to catch the eye of buyers in New York and Los Angeles. Powered by a 2.6-litre OHV 4-cylinder engine, early publicity was relentless. Austin even drove one around the Indianapolis Speedway for 7 days straight, breaking speed records to prove its stamina. Would that convince skeptical Americans? It didn't. The Atlantic was too small and too expensive for American tastes, yet too flashy for conservative British buyers. It pleased almost nobody. By 1952, production quietly ended, with fewer than 8,000 built. The export dream had collapsed. Still, its powerful engine lived on, transplanted into the Austin Healey. Some historians now argue the failure narrative has been overstated, but at the time, Austin's American gamble was seen as a genuinely painful miscalculation. And now, let's move to number 1, the disappointment still argued over in every classic car forum today. Number 1, Ford Zephyr Mk1. When Ford unveiled the Zephyr in 1951, it felt genuinely revolutionary. Alongside the console, it was Ford's first serious attempt at monocoque construction in Britain, replacing old-fashioned separate chassis with something modern and rigid. The 6-cylinder Zephyr, in particular, impressed critics enormously, its 2.3-litre overhead valve engine delivering smooth, effortless power that made rivals feel old-fashioned overnight. Buyers queued up. Was this finally the British family car that could match American comfort with European sensibility? For a moment, it seemed so. Then the rust arrived. Chassis legs corroded from within. Inner wings rotted quietly out of sight. Water crept into door bottoms, sills, and the scenes around the bonnet and grille, turning showroom pride into scrapyard fodder within a handful of British winters. Could a genuinely groundbreaking design really be undone by something as simple as steel and moisture? It was. Thousands of Zephyrs vanished from Britain's roads years before their time, leaving behind a car remembered as much for pioneering engineering as for spectacular corrosion, a genuinely brilliant idea let down by the very ground it drove on. 10 cars, 10 stories of ambition meeting hard reality. Britain's motor industry never lacked imagination, brilliant engineers, or genuine passion. What it often lacked was patience, investment, and the courage to follow ideas through completely. Some of these cars rusted away. Some lost royal favor. Some cost lives. And one, perhaps the most heartbreaking of all, dissolved an entire company that dared to dream too big. Would history have remembered Britain differently if just one decision had gone the other way? We'll never truly know. If Britain's forgotten motoring stories fascinate you as much as they fascinate us, you may enjoy subscribing to Britain Rewind for more journeys through automotive history every day.